Hi, welcome back to the Peaceful Creatives podcast. I'm back with a new episode after just a little week's break. I decided to book a little last minute trip after my Book Not Busy launch to celebrate a little bit and get quite a bit of rest. Behind the scenes, I've had a few things going on with personal life and health, and I won't really go into it, but I really felt like I needed, after that 6-week launch period, to step back, reset, feel really good about everything, and come back with a sort of fresh energy. So that's exactly what I did. I shared a little bit on my Instagram about some things that I've been up to, things that I've been prioritizing over the past week or so to, just make sure I feel really rested and peaceful, which is obviously the main goal, isn't it? So I'm back with an episode today about how to attract your dream clients without doing absolutely everything. And really, above all, this is the bread and butter of the work that I love doing. I help the creative experts that I work with to attract dream clients, whether it's into a schedule that feels more spacious, whether it's so they can scale their businesses, whether it's so they can pivot into work that they really love doing. And really, in the work that I've been doing over the past 6 or 7 years as a coach/mentor, the idea of helping creatives work with their dream clients really is what I love to focus on. So then we think of the other side, which is without doing absolutely everything, because again, I can't forget the side of my message, my values, where I want the creative experts that I work with and you listening to still feel really peaceful at the same time. And it's not just a belief of mine. It's not something I believe is true, that you can work with dream clients and be very peaceful at the same time. It's something that I prove over and over again in my business and also in the businesses of the creatives that I work with. So I want to share a little bit about that, about how I guess in the online world, it can really feel like you have to be balancing a million different plates. You have to be on all of the different social platforms, creating every single piece of content, almost like spreading your net really wide to try and find dream clients. And even then, sometimes out of 10 clients that you book, maybe only a handful of them end up actually being those really dreamy clients. Whereas something that I believe is true for everyone is that you can fill your schedule with clients that are perfect for you and perfectly aligned with the work that you love to do, the availability that you have, the prices that you want to charge, and I guess just the way that you want to work as well, the relationships you have with your clients, the way that you collaborate together. All of these things I think are possible. In my creative business, my design studio, I have been booked up months in advance with really, really dreamy aligned clients for the past 7 or 8 years. And really, at the beginning, I did not believe that that was something that was possible. I thought dream clients were kind of like gold dust, they would come across occasionally, and, they're the ones that I would really talk about, and those projects would lead the way in my marketing and in my portfolio, but maybe the rest of the time had to be filled up with filler spaces and projects that maybe weren't the most aligned with what I wanted to do or the people that I wanted to work with, specifically. But they were fine, they helped me make money, they helped my income feel a little bit more consistent. And what I proved to myself, and again, what I share in my programs, is that it is so possible to have every single client be really aligned, and then further to this episode, and also not take all of your energy to make that happen. It's not that you have to, like I said, be on every social platform, be everywhere, do everything to book these clients. It's just not necessary. And before we jump in, another thing that I want to share is actually what I found is spreading yourself really thin, spreading your net really wide, and hoping that the right people come in is probably directly impacting how many dream clients you can connect with and attract. Because you probably lose focus. I think doing so much at the same time can shift your focus from being kind of lasered in on the right people and talking to the right problems and sharing what you do in a way that makes sense for the people that you really want to work with, And instead, you probably end up with a diluted or watered down message because you're trying to share it on Instagram and on TikTok and in a podcast and through emails and on new sales pages and across every single piece of your business. And it can really feel like a stretch. It can lead you into feeling more burnt out. It can lead you into feeling more overwhelmed because there's way too much to balance. There's way too much to focus on and to use your energy on. And again, it dilutes that message and makes you feel like less of an expert because your focuses are all over the place. Even further to that, adding so much of a weight and a load onto the marketing tasks that you have, again, using lots of platforms, trying lots of different content formats, having a million ideas for different pieces of content, that is only going to drain your energy as a whole, but also your creativity. And our creativity is such a valuable resource when we are creative experts running a business. We need that energy for our clients and for the work that we're doing. So actually using all of that energy up by, ironically, filming 20-minute videos, which is what I'm doing now, but also, spending a full day trying to edit a TikTok or writing up a million different ideas in a notes app that never actually end up being made, or trying to make 10-page carousel templates that only ever serve one piece of content. All of these things are just draining you of the energy. And frankly, it's not necessary. If we think about the process of booking a dream client, all that process has to look like is we understand what it is that we do, we understand the people that we really want to work with, and we create a message that brings those two things together that those people can find. It really is about the visibility piece, the positioning piece, the messaging piece, and just that clarity around who it is you really, really want to serve. And the more clarity you have about who your dream clients, or your perfect people as I like to call them, who they really are, the more clarity you have, the more you understand that actually doing more, adding more to your marketing and creating more offers and trying to do lots of different things because you think that's what your people want, the more you understand those people, the more you will see that all of those things that you're doing is actually creating a disconnect instead of that connection between what you do, who your people are, and what it is that they need. Because really, it is a simple, formula, and following that formula really comes down to having that clarity and having the confidence to stick to a path that really makes sense for you. Because when clients are looking for a creative to work with, they're not looking for who's doing the most. They're not trying to see who has the most Instagram posts, who's posting every single day, who's sharing video content and carousels and, long form content and emails and more freebies. They're not looking for the volume of what it is you're creating. They're looking for the connection of what it is that you create and the transformations that you share for them, and the problems that you solve and how you can take them from A to B when A is where they are now and B is their goal. It comes with focus, it comes with clarity, and it comes with, again, that deep understanding of what those points are for those people. It doesn't come with doing all of the things, spreading yourself everywhere, and again, diluting that message. So let's go through a few, tangible tips on how to actually make this a reality. So how to, if you are already doing all of the things and finding that people just aren't connecting with your message and your offer and what it is you do as a creative, or if you're at a point where you're not quite sure where to go with your marketing and you will prefer to keep it simpler because you're worried about getting burnt out, or you have a lower capacity, or maybe you're already really busy with client work as it is and you want things to keep a little simpler, then let's go through a few tips that can make this a reality for you. So tip 1, you want to get perfectly laser focused clear on who you are as a creative expert, what it is that you do, what it is that you want to share, the work that you really, really want to be doing. Because I think so often we can lean into what we think is going to work, or what we think people want from us, or what it is that we've seen other people doing at least. Whereas if you know exactly what you want to be doing as a creative, what you want to be sitting down at your desk and working on day to day, the work that fills your cup, the work that makes you feel the most creative, that you're most inspired by, it's going to be much easier to then talk about that work, because you'll feel joyful, you will feel motivated by it, you will really understand the depths of the expertise and the creativity and I guess the value that you share as well. And it's so important to get to that place where if someone says, "What do you do?" it's sometimes a little bit cringe to think of like an elevator pitch or, how would you introduce yourself at a networking event? But it is true, if you can say, "I do this for these people and this is the outcome that we get," then that is going to give you the clarity to talk about your work in your marketing in a way that makes sense and connects with the right people as well. It's not about how you can talk about the breadth of work that you can do. It's not about trying to appeal to every single person or every single client. It's really about identifying who you are as an expert and making that as unique as possible, because your perfect people are going to want to see you for the unique expert that you are. And if you want to stand out in a sea of other designers, photographers, illustrators, copywriters, there has to be something unique there. You have to really claim what your expertise are going to be. So then switching over to the other side of this puzzle is then thinking about who your dream clients really are. What is it that they do? What industries are they in? What types of teams do they have? Where is their business at in terms of the age of the business and the scale of the business? What values do they have as a business? Who do they tend to work with? There is so much that we can get from just thinking about who we really, really want to appeal to, who we really, really want to connect with. It's not necessarily about having that classic kind of like ideal client avatar, which I sometimes find is one, tricky to pull together, and two, not very helpful because it's working off a completely made up set of values and information about a business or person that doesn't actually exist. But we're actually thinking about the tangible pieces that make your dream clients who they are. What is it that makes them really great for you to work with? What is it that gives you projects that make you really happy and inspired? And I guess another really great question is, where are those people spending their time? How can you actually connect with them? So the next step is actually going into the piece of how do we do less while still bringing in these people? And it's then thinking about, okay, well, where do these people spend their time? Where am I actually going to be able to connect with them? Is it that they are creative people themselves, so they spend a lot of time on Instagram or Pinterest or with visual mediums? Are they, people on the go? Are they mums who are very busy and have to take things in very quickly in short form video content? Or maybe they're people who like to sit and read through content and take all of that information in. There's a lot of decisions that we can make that feed into our marketing based on how we feel like our dream people will spend their time. And they're the questions that we can start to answer of, okay, well, if I'm not doing everything, what am I actually doing? If your people are spending time on Instagram, focus your attention on Instagram. You don't have to spread yourself across all of the different platforms. If your people are in a rush, maybe it makes sense to focus on video instead of extensive carousels or long-form content. If your people are looking for a deeper long-term connection, does it make sense to focus on email marketing instead of everything else? This is where we can start to refine and find the places that our attention actually makes sense going to them instead of, again, being spread too thin, casting the net too wide, and focusing on things that don't actually make sense for where our dream people are. The important thing here is just making sure that your content is always going to have intention in mind. The best way we can actually save time and save energy in our marketing and make sure that it's actually working instead of throwing everything out there and just guessing what works is actually by answering these questions of, okay, let's really, really think strategically about where my people are going to be spending their time, finding what I do and connecting with my message. Then let's have a think about that messaging point. Let's have a think about what it looks like to actually come out and talk about your work and say what it is you do and talk to these people in a way that connects. And this is where we start diving into who they are a little bit closer. So if you are a creative who does this thing and they are a client who needs this thing, how do those two things connect? How are you solving their problems? How are you creating a transformation for them, again, that takes them from A to B? How are you acknowledging the way that they're thinking and their thought process around the project that you have at hand and bringing that to life in your content? Again, when I say doing all the things, sometimes, mostly I mean doing all the platforms and balancing a load of tasks and feeling like you have to do everything in terms of marketing. But it also makes sense in terms of like the actual content and the ideas that you're sharing. Because again, I think so often we feel like we have to be jumping on every single trend. We have to be talking about every single aspect of web design or copywriting or brand photography. We feel like we have to really get into the depths of why do you need it, and this is what it is, and this is how I do this. Whereas actually your dream clients will have very specific questions based on your expertise and based on who they are and where they are, that when those questions get answered, that's when they're more likely to get in touch with you and pick you as their perfect expert who is the best match for them in their project. Your messaging is so important when it comes to that clarity and that simplicity, because it's almost like you want to be saying a lot with the fewest words. You want to be able to post less but still create those connections. Again, just coming back to that idea of burnout and peace and creating a work week that actually works for you. If you can make your marketing feel simple but really, really laser focused, really, really targeted, again, this is how we can continue to book clients and really, really great aligned clients without giving everything to our marketing plan, without feeling like we have to sell our soul to our marketing to actually book the right clients. And finally, there has to be a piece around consistency. And I never ever mean when I talk about consistency in marketing that you have to post this many times a week and you have to do it all the time and it has to be the most consistent thing you've ever done in your life. It's not a case of that. It's a case of your people being able to see you as a consistent presence in what they do. Even if that is you post once a week in one place, or you have a schedule where you share one portfolio piece, or you jump on Instagram stories every day, or you film a quick video and add some voiceover to it. Whatever that consistency looks like, it can still feel really easy and it can still feel like something that fits into a plan even when you're super busy. This is something that I love talking about because I think marketing is always the first thing that goes when you feel busy. But often the reason for that is that we put so much weight into our marketing. We think we have to do all of these things and we have to post on all of these platforms and keep up with all the latest trends. And I think that as an idea, and us feeling like that's the only way that we can book the right clients, that's what keeps us from actually showing up when things get hard or when things get busy or when you run out of ideas or when you don't have a project to share. And what I really want for you to keep in mind is that you can stay consistent whatever your business looks like at the time. You don't have to have the clearest schedule. You don't have to have a free full day. You don't even have to have a free few hours to be consistent in your marketing. If you have that messaging in place, if you really understand who your people are, what it is that they need and how you can make that happen, it becomes so much easier to show up in your marketing with intentional, focused messaging that really connects with those perfect people, again, without doing a million things at the same time. So let's finish up here. I really, really hope that this episode has helped you understand and kind of realize that you don't have to be doing absolutely everything to book dream clients. I also hope that some of these tips are really helpful as well. I hope this is something that you feel confident in doing. More than anything, I work with people who come to me and say, oh, I don't think it gets to be this simple. I can see the idea around marketing being more intentional and easier and more simple. I just can't see how this is going to work, either because I've seen other people doing so many different things and getting success from that, or I've heard from experts that you have to be posting on so many different platforms. Again and again and again, I just want to remind people that however you want to run your business, can work. Whatever that looks like can work. Yes, you have to do some marketing so your people can find you. Yes, you have to realize what work you want to do and really understand what that looks like and understand the people you want to work with. But the more intentional you can be, the more focused you can be, the more strategic you can be with your marketing, the less you have to do, the less you have to show up, the less you have to put on your plate, and the more you will find dream clients just connecting with you because you're saying the right things, you're understanding what they need from you, and you're sharing your expertise with confidence. Your dream clients are just looking for what it is that you can do that solves the problems that they have, or reaches the goals that they have, or achieves the transformation that they're looking for. They don't need a million different things. They don't need a million different platforms. They don't need to see you everywhere. They just need to connect, even with one post or one message or one piece of your website, whatever that looks like. You don't need more to make that happen. What you actually need is the focus and the space to feel really good about what you're sharing and to share things consistently in a way that shows your confidence and shows your expertise. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I am so excited to be back. I'm hoping to keep up this video format as well, so let me know if you're enjoying this. I'll be back next week with another episode. Let me know if there's anything you would love to hear from me, if there's anything you would love to see, and I will make it happen. Thank you again for listening to the Peaceful Creatives podcast. If you want to find more from me, you can find me at Gatto Creative Mentor over on Instagram. Please feel free to drop me a message as well. I always love having chats about creative business stuff. And yeah, I'll be back next week.